Who here got on an airplane to be here? Wow! Whoa! Stand up if you came from another country to be in this room. Wow. Wow, 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 wow! Who drove here and feels great about it? Woo! Welcome home. Woo. Live stream, how we doing back there? How's it going? Are we connected with live stream? Live stream, we love you too. We're happy you're here. We are meeting you in the ethers, and we are sending you the high vibes right through your screen. So this is the first event that I've let myself, hey Dawn, Janice, VIP beauties from yesterday, Brianna. This is the first event I've let myself be fully supported. Because anyone else think they need to control everything for everything to work out? And I'm always like, I've got to be in the room. There's all these things to do. And I just tapped in yesterday. The magic is in the surrender, right? We had some moments yesterday at the Speak Your Soul Day, and that was one of the nuggets. And I was sitting on the sofa this morning at my house, and I just felt so much gratitude. Gratitude for each and every one of you, for saying yes, for taking the time, because frequency, our time is a currency. Our time, our energy, our money. And so my intention is that every single person in this room receives an exceptional, extraordinary up level. Is that we all open our hearts and we allow a higher frequency to come in. We unlock the next level of our unique soul blueprint. We feel our confidence up-leveled. We feel on fire, excited, and ready to go create a ripple effect of inspiration. Yes? Live stream you too, for everybody. And I was sitting there this morning, and I just had a moment of like, I don't think I've ever let this much support come in my life. And it felt so good. And it's like, if you're in this room, you have a big mission. If you're listening on live stream, you have a big mission, because the people I attract in my world have big missions. And I would not be where I am today if I hadn't have come in rooms like this. If I hadn't have let myself not feel like I had to be the one to hold it all together all the time. Anyone relate? And so everyone in here is a leader. Everyone in here is an exceptional, extraordinary human being filled with magic. And what we're going to do together in these next couple of days is going to create big, wild dreams. Some are going to be instant. Some are going to come in 2 weeks. Some in 2 months. Some in 2 years. But this is the fertile soil that we're laying it in. How many of you in here have been on retreats with me before? So you know what I'm talking about. There's so many times when clients have said, I came to Sedona and with you and I planted these seeds, and now they've all manifested within a year. And so the cool thing about quantum success is it's quantum. It's not just in our third dimensional world. It's in the infinite field of quantum vibes. It's in the infinite field of possibilities, and every single one of us has the power to plug into it. I'm going to acknowledge people throughout. We have an amazing, amazing world-class speakers that are going to be sharing their magic. My beautiful friend, former client, and fantastic energy healer, Megan, has been helping to grid the room, and she's been putting this beautiful source Reiki energy. She's going to be delivering that. I'm going to be delivering the love frequency. Ow! And if you stay in this room, you will walk out expanded. You will walk out your next level energetically. And I'm here for the breakthrough too. Who in here is ready for a breakthrough? The frequency of breakthrough will take you to your next level. The frequency of breakthrough. What is a breakthrough? A breakthrough is you see something with fresh eyes. You collapse time because the old version of you that didn't get it, a new version of you, you just had a breakthrough. You see it differently. A breakthrough, everything you want is on the other side of your breakthrough. Sometimes the breakthroughs don't feel comfortable. That's okay. Because the good thing is we have an energetic vortex. And we're transmuting because we're not meant to hold it all. So, the intention of this event is quantum success. The intention of this event is that we transcend limiting beliefs. We transcend the doubts that have kept us playing small, that have kept us stuck, that have kept us over here. When we know our vision and our mission and everything we've ever desired is over here. We have a crescendo of activities and experiences, and everything is going to build on the next thing. And so those of you that have been in rooms like this with me before, you know it just keeps getting better and better and better. I want to talk about the frequency of courage. Because this is a frequency that can and will change your life. Who here feels like they have courage? Well, obviously you do. You made it to this room. Who here feels like they could use a little more courage to go where they want to go? I'm here for the breakthrough too. Remember. So, courage. One of these days, I'm going to write curriculum for elementary and middle school. And yes, thank you. And this is going to be a class. Instead of arithmetic, is that even a thing anymore? We will have the class of courage. What you will earn in your life is based on your courage. You could also use that to say what you will receive in life is based on your courage. Because if you don't have the courage to go and get it, are you ever going to get it? No. Your level of fulfillment is based on your courage. When you feel lit up and passionate from the inside out, it's because you had the courage to look around and say, there's something bigger in here, and it's calling me. And I know it's the key to my higher levels of fulfillment. I know it's the key to my abundance. But the outside world tells me that's not for me. But I have the courage to put one foot in front of the other and walk in the direction of my big, wild dreams. And that leads to fulfillment. The amount of magnetism, whew, you call your dreams to you. Who wants a little more of that? Whew, comes from the frequency of courage. Now, I want to tell you about my journey with courage. Would you like to hear it? Thank you. Ten years ago, today actually, about this time, found myself not feeling like I had any courage. I had felt like I had lived so many years for what everyone else wanted. I didn't even know who I was. And I could still feel it all in my body. And I know it's because I'm meant to help other people with this frequency that are ready to tap into their own courage. And I'm not going to fall. For those of you, most of you have probably known my journey a little bit. You've read Quantum Vibes, you've heard the podcast, you've heard me talk about it. But like it's landing so much more right now. Because I just had this like pivotal full circle moment of a decade ago this journey started for me. A decade ago, I mustered together the courage to believe in something more than what I had been shown in this third dimensional world. A decade ago, I let my soul take me to my knees so my soul could take me to living so many big, wild dreams, but I didn't know it in that moment. So I remember feeling off kilter. I remember having this buzzing in my mind of like, what is life even about? Has anyone ever felt that? What am I doing here? What's the point of it all? And nothing was making sense. Nothing was working out the way that I had wanted. Nothing was giving me the feeling that I had craved, that I had searched for everywhere. And I mean everywhere. And if you would have seen me a decade ago, you actually would have been like, dang, she's got a few things figured out, because I knew how to hold it all together. I didn't know how to feel, and so instead I just hid things with a smile. I'm great. How are you? Anyone? That was before I knew about also the frequency of truth. And that was before I knew about the subconscious mind and how to begin to get it to work on your behalf. And so there was a day, it was around the fall of 2013, when I was sitting on the sofa. And it's so interesting because so much of our outer world represents what's happening on our inner world. And I wanted to do something fabulous. So I renovated my house. I lifted the roof up, 10-foot ceilings, here I come, pushed out the kitchen, built a garage with an in-law suite. I was building my future even though I had no idea what the future was. What I did not know was that my home was also my root. And as it was disheveled, and as there were so many different energies all around it, and as I was ill-prepared because I just made decisions fast and I didn't understand what to do, there was dust all over everything inside of my house. It was, there was no power, there was no roof, you couldn't live there. And that's how I felt inside of my body. And there had been 30 years of not feeling. 30 years of not feeling the uncomfortable feelings, 30 years of not feeling good enough, 30 years of not loving myself, 30 years of trying to do what it is I thought I was supposed to do to make everyone else around me happy without even getting to know who I actually was. Anyone? And that day, after a few months of numbing, what would happen is I would go to work and I wouldn't even be able to work. I would literally just sit there, which was so not like me. And I would go home and I would have a glass of wine, or 2 or 3, because everyone had a glass of wine at 5 o'clock to take the edge off. Yeah? It didn't even feel like abnormal to me. And to be clear, it wasn't an alcohol addiction, it was a numbing. Sometimes I do have a glass of wine or tequila, but I do it with a very different frequency now than I did then. It was I don't want to feel, so I'm going to have a glass of wine so I don't have to feel. Yeah. And after a few months of doing this, it got worse. I felt even more disconnected. And I remember sitting on the sofa, staring at the clock in front of me. It was 4:59 because I had at least made myself wait till 5 o'clock. Because in my mind, if it was 5 o'clock, it felt normal. It's happy hour somewhere, right? And I was staring at the clock, 4:59, 4:59, 4:59, 4:59, 4:59. I'm like, hello, 4:59, 4:59. Clock never turned. Had to have been 1 minute. Had to have been another minute. And another minute, and another minute. I believe God froze time for me in that day. Because my soul was like, darling, you don't have any more time to act like this. The world needs your light and your message and your mission. And it is time for you to wake up to your power and your strength. And I could not stare at the 4:59 anymore. And I fell to my knees. And tears streamed down my face. And for the first time, I heard my soul inside of my body. For the first time, I listened to my power. For the first time, I heard me, my truth, the courage. The frequency of courage began to stream through my blood. And it said, girl, you are meant for so much more. And that's the frequency I want to bring into this room today for each and every one of us, myself included, because as long as we're breathing, we're going to the next level, and I am going with you. And in that moment, I got up, and I did not know. I had no idea what was going to happen, what was going to transpire. All I knew was I was not willing to go down that lonely, dark road anymore. And so I went to the kitchen, I got out whatever wine was left, I put it in the trash. I did not drink alcohol for probably a year and a half. I started to look for podcasts. I started to look at books. I became a retreat junkie. And I started to feel feelings of fulfillment. I started to feel life inside of me. I started to have courage to say, I do not care what is happening around me. Here is where I'm going, and you can either get in line or I will see you later. Thank you. And was it easy? No. Did it take strength? Yes. Did it take plugging into possibility and overriding logic over and over and over again? Yes. Did it take putting myself in rooms like this and leaning on others that believed in me a little more than I believed in myself? Yes. Did it take realigning my friendships? Yes. I have the best friends now. Some of them are in this room helping hold this container for you and supporting all of it because we're all going. So in 2014, I plugged into the possibility of courage and my unique soul blueprint. We're going to talk a lot about unique soul blueprint because this is how you get into the quantum field of vibrations. You plug into your unique soul blueprint. You plug into your unique soul blueprint. You plug into yours and yours and yours and yours and yours and yours and yours. And guess what? They're different. So what's best for you might be different than what's best for you and for you. This will also be on the elementary school docket. Unique soul blueprint. Your ticket to fulfillment, abundance, and a life filled with big, wild dreams. So in 2014, I had a very lucrative corporate job that I had loved, that really had been in alignment. And it was in alignment until it wasn't. And everything in my body told me I had to let it go. And I had worked very, very hard because I didn't understand energetics then. All I knew was matter to matter, three-dimensional, pushing the masculine way. It works. And I got very, very good at it. And when I was deciding that this wasn't for me anymore, I was like, people are going to think I've lost my mind. People are going to think I'm crazy. I have been working since I was 22 years old to achieve what I've achieved, and now I'm just going to be like, see ya. So I didn't tell anybody. When I called my boss to have a meeting with him, he literally thought I was kidding. We met in person, and he said, do you want to just take like 6 months off and we don't tell anybody? Stupidly, I said no. If I had to go back in time, I would go, yes. And I took 2014 to get to know this part of me, to sit in the fire of the uncomfortability of the feelings that were coming up. And what do you think that takes? Courage. Because most people start to feel it, and then they're like, nope, I'll just go back to where it feels safe over here, thank you. But your dreams are that way, and courage is that way. And to be honest, in hindsight, if I had to go back to that moment in 2014, I'm not sure I would have quit. Knowing what I know now, I'm not sure I would have quit. Because I had the flexibility. And it's a lot more fun to build a business with abundance than to build a business from a place of, oop, if you don't pay me, I'm not going to pay this bill. It's a lot more fun to start a business from a place of, I'm good, and if you want to come and we make everything better together, that's the vibe. So I'm not sure I would have done it the way I did it. But I didn't know what I know now. So in 2015, I hosted my very first retreat in Sedona, Arizona. Thank you, thank you. And what do we think that took? Courage. I didn't have very much of an audience. My sister was one of the attendees. Some best friends were attendees. Sandra was there. But I knew this was a calling. And I knew I needed to build my own stage. And I knew if I was going to do what I was meant to do, I had to start to show up, no matter what. So I plugged into that frequency of courage. And you know what else I did? I got myself some money coming in another way. So I was supported. And so I could be in that expansive energy, because that took courage too, because my ego was saying, what do you mean? You're building this whole other thing. Why do you need that? Well, I like to feel safe in my body. I've gotten used to a certain lifestyle, and that's important to me. I know that if I'm going to serve others abundantly, I need to be abundant. And so I began to dance in the field of both. And to be honest, after a year of just isolation and healing, it felt quite good to be grounded and to be spreading the light that I had been activating in hospitals and doctors' offices. And people were looking at me like, you look different. And I'm like, yep, I am. And I didn't hide it, which is hilarious, because I was all over the internet. You could find me and see exactly what I was up to, and I was delivering for the corporation that wanted me to help them. Because I knew I could do that with both hands tied behind my back and my eyes closed. And it worked. And eventually, I began magnetizing coaches, healers, entrepreneurs that had seen what I had done and the success I had created early. Because I ended up on some big platforms. I wrote my first book, I launched my first book, and I began doing well with it. So I started attracting coaches and healers and entrepreneurs that were like, tell me what you're doing. And I began coaching and helping people go from making $2,000 a month to $10,000 a month, to $15,000 a month, to $20,000 a month, to $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month. And it's not about the money. The money is amazing. We want it. We're going to do a whole abundance activation in here. Who wants more abundance in their life? What it did was it began to create a conversation around where we're moving as a human species, around possibility, around you can take your unique soul blueprint, your magical gifts, and you can be abundant with it. And it was really awesome to watch. And it got to the point where I didn't need the corporate thing anymore, but it felt really good just having so much flowing in, until one day I said, we're complete here. And the next thing you know, my courage is through the roof. Because in the beginning, there was a lot of doubt, a lot. There's still doubt. As I stand here before you today, there's still doubt. We're on the human journey. But in 2017, 18, life started to get really amazing. I was speaking for Mind Valley. I was having so many aligned clients in my life. I was traveling the world. And in 2019, I stood on the red circle and I delivered a conversation around energy, vibrations, frequency, and the intention was to help this be a mainstream conversation. And today that talk has reached over 3 million people. Thank you.